Hi guys, I hope you're okay. So I thought I would just sit down with a cup of coffee whilst Harrison's napping and chat to you about how I get Harrison to sleep, or how I've managed to make Harrison sleep through for the whole night. Now I'm not going to claim that I had anything to do with that, because I didn't. Harrison does just really enjoy his sleep. He always has. I think he was about 4 months old when we thought, do you know what? He's slept through for ages now, let's put him in his own room. And yeah, he's just slept through like since then. I feel really braggy saying that, because I know that some parents have a really tough time getting their little ones to sleep, but fortunately Harrison isn't one of those, and he loves bedtime. Most of the time 6:30 comes, he's got his blanket and his dummy, and he's like pushing us to get him into bed. So yeah, we're good on that front most of the time. Like most children, he does go through phases of just wanting to be awake, whether he's not very well or whether he just wants to play. That is the situation, and there has been a couple of ways, I guess, that we nip that in the bud and get him back to bed, get him back to sleeping properly. And one of them is kind of a variation, I guess, of controlled crying. Like most parenting topics, controlled crying is extremely controversial. Some people love it, some people hate the idea of it. But for us, I say a variation because we didn't do it completely to how you're meant to, I guess, because I didn't actually know it was a thing. I kind of just ended up doing it because I thought, you know what, this might work for us. And it was only at a later stage that I realised, oh, we're actually following a little process here. So basically, controlled crying, if you don't already know, is what it says on the tin. It is controlling your baby's crying. So you'll hear them crying, whether it's because they don't want to go down or they've woken up in the night. You'll go in, comfort them for say 2 minutes, don't pick them up, just comfort them, like chill them out, leave the room for say double that time, or like a minute extra, so maybe 3 or 4 minutes, go back in, chill them out, come back out, stay for 5 or 8 minutes, go back in until they sleep basically. And it works for us. Like I said, Harrison has always slept through. Now, crying out and controlled crying are two completely different things. They're so different, but I think we found somewhere in the middle that works. So most of the time, if he wakes up, which isn't a lot, it's, I don't know, maybe once or twice every like few weeks maybe. Maybe his brain is just super active, he just wants to play, whatever. So I'll go in, first of all, assess the situation. So I know that there's 2 types of crying for Harrison, and that is from past experience, that I know that one, he's genuinely, I say genuinely like in the nicest way, genuinely crying because he is upset, he's got a sore bum, he's got a wet nappy, he's teething, which is the main reason he's ever awake in the night or won't go down. What else? If he's got a temperature or something. And then there's the second set of tears that are, Mum, I don't want to sleep, I want to play. And I know that because there's been times, of course this isn't foolproof, that as my instincts as a mother, I go in, pick him up, and he laughs at me. He actually laughs at me and then points at his toys, grabs a toy and then wants to go downstairs and play. Or he'll just say, Mama, Dada, point downstairs. I know that all he wants to do is play, and that's not cool. So that's how I distinguish the situation, and then I go from there. So I wouldn't let Harrison cry it out to the point where he would, you know, get too much in a state. He's never got to the point where, surprise surprise, he's never got to the point where he's made himself ill or in too much of a, you know, when they're really sobbing, because he's asleep by then, because actually he's tired. And I found a lot of the time that he'll cry and then try and get himself back to sleep and then cry. And so if I know that there's a break, I figure that he's actually trying to soothe himself anyway, so there's probably nothing wrong, but there might be. So it is important to always, in my opinion, it's important to always go in initially and check and then go from there. So I'll go in, see what's happening, and then leave the room. Now, you've probably seen in some of my vlogs that I'm outside the bedroom like, oh, I want to go in, but I don't. I wait, go in again, calm him down. I never pick him up because I just want to I don't want him to think that, oh, mum's picked me up, and cotton on to that and then try again the next night. I nip it in the bud straight away, because most kids, well, all kids are very, very clever little things, and I don't think, I've said it before, I don't think we give them enough credit at all. So I try and nip it in the bud straight away so that he doesn't think he can get away with that every single night. A huge example of Harrison getting away with something one night and then trying it on the next night is when he stayed at my parents' house a couple of weeks back when I was away with work, and he woke up at I think 3 or 4 and asked my mum for a bottle, and she gave him one, which, you know, I think I wouldn't do it at my house, but when he's in the care of somebody else, if that's what's working for them, then cool. But when he then came home, he woke up at like 4 or 5 and was like, Mama, bot bot, bot bot. So he thinks that he got away with it then, so he thinks he could get away with it at home. Of course, I didn't give him the bottle, and I told him, Harrison, it's still night time, you have to go back to sleep, bubs. And he did. So from there, I kind of decide, am I going to keep going in just to calm him down when there's nothing wrong, or am I just going to let him cry this out? Because you just have to judge every situation, I think, and that's why I say that I'm doing a variation of controlled crying when I'm trying to settle him back down. Of course, as natural instincts go, you do as a parent want to go in, pick up your baby and comfort them, but I do honestly, I just think you're making a rod for your own back. Is that what it's called? You know, you're setting standards here, and if you're going in and picking them up, then they're thinking, you know what, this is working, and they're going to do it the next night and the next night and the next night. You have to make a new habit for your kids, and I think they say it takes like 3 or 4 days to get into the swing of a new habit for a little one, and I just think it's tough at the time. It really is. I'm not going to pretend that it's easy, because it hurts. Like, I've cried with Harrison because I want to go in and get him, but you just have to think of the end goal, and if that baby's sleeping at night, then so are you. I'm not one of those judgy parents at all, and I think that everyone has their own way to deal with things and how to parent their kids. There's no right or no wrong, honestly. Some people I know are completely against how I get Harrison to sleep, but then some people are so like, oh my god, wow, Harrison's always slept through, blah blah blah. Everyone has their own way of dealing with things, and as a parent there is no right and wrong. So yeah, that is how we go about the whole controlled crying thing. I don't know if I do it right or wrong, but that's what works for us, and thankfully he does only wake up a couple of times in a few weeks, touch wood, unless he's teething. So is controlled crying for you and your baby or not? I'd love to hear your opinions in the comments below, but please no judgy comments, because like I said, you know, there is no right or wrong, and for somebody that is going through it, that's having a tough time because their kid's not sleeping already, to read something negative about it and their way of parenting, that can be really tough. I get a lot of comments and questions like from my viewers asking how I get Harrison to sleep and stuff, so I know that they'll read them because they'll see this video and check out the comments for advice from other parents. So yeah, do leave them below, but please be nice. If you want me to talk about anything else, then I'll do that, but make sure you leave a comment below and like, subscribe and all of that, and I'll see you soon. Bye!